come on, mate.
Come on, keep coming up. Grown man coming towards me because I don't want to show.
Man.
Are you not grown? I'm getting very angry.
Why are you saying grown man?
Because you seem to me to be an adult. This is Miranda Newsom. Southwark Council has banned her from every single leisure centre in the area. Her crime? Objecting to a man in the women's changing room. I'm Connie Shaw and this is GB News Originals. A protest was organised by Miranda and the Women's Rights Network outside the leisure centre. So naturally, so-called trans activists, or rather people who are in favour of forcing women to get undressed in front of men, organised a counter-protest against women who just want to be able to get changed without men in the room. You may be unsurprised to hear that they were not very keen on answering questions about their reason for protesting. And what's the issue here? What's happened at this leisure centre?
So someone has been Southwark Council have banned a member at the leisure centre for harassing a trans person in the changing rooms, and so we're supporting Southwark Council.
And by trans person, was that person male or female?
I don't know.
Well, the story is about Miranda Newsom. She says that there was a man in the women's changing room. Do these unions here support women's rights to single-sex spaces?
You'd have to speak to the unison. I'm just here to...
Well, the story is that there was a male person in the women's changing room. Do you think that women should have the right to single-sex spaces?
I think that trans people have an equal right to those spaces.
So you think that men should be able to go into women's spaces?
I think that people who identify as female should be able to access female spaces.
What do you mean by identify as female?
If they identify as trans, then they should be able to access those spaces.
What about people like Isla Bryson or Karen White?
Sorry, I don't like this conversation that we're having.
Why don't you like it?
I don't feel like you should be attacking what I'm saying.
How am I attacking what you're saying?
You're making me very anxious and I'd like to stop this conversation, please.
We want to defend the policy of Southwark Council
And what is that policy?
to allow women to use the facilities, whether they're trans women or not.
What do you mean by trans woman?
Well, what it means, a trans woman.
What does being a trans woman mean?
Well, it means being a trans woman. Sorry,
That's a circular definition. Fascist? What does your word? It took less than a minute to be called a fascist for asking what a trans woman is, and for men with drums to surround me, drowning out my conversations. What do you think? What's your definition of fascism? What does your definition of fascism mean?
You know what I like about these people? They never disappoint. They're always as stupid as you think they are.
I'm just asking questions. Normally...
Just asking questions.
Are we not allowed to ask questions here?
Sorry, apologies. I didn't mean to. I was trying to pop this fuckhead with a camera.
So normally fascism is quite authoritarian and fascists don't tend to like being asked.
You mean like J.K. Rowling calling for...
A man is a man. You're a fascist.
Why are they trying to silence us? Do you think maybe it's a bit fascisty of you to stop us asking questions? These are not just any old trans activists. The protest was organised by trade unions, including Unison, the UK's largest trade union. On their website, they say, whatever you're going through, we can help. I wondered if they would help a woman who had been assaulted in a female-only space by a man. On the Unison website, it says that no matter what you're going through, that there'll always be someone to help. Would you support a woman if she was going through the fact that she'd been assaulted in a single-sex space by a male person? No, you wouldn't help a woman who was a member of your union if she had been in a single-sex space for women by a man.
Oh.
Trans women are women.
Even if they other women.
Trans women are women.
Even
women commit crimes.
But
trans women are women.
Was Isla Bryson a woman?
Trans women are women.
And what makes them women?
Trans women are women.
And you've got no explanation for what makes them women?
Is it in the word?
Wow.
Is it in the name?
Well, I'm looking for a definition, not a circular argument.
Trans women are women.
So do you think that women should have the right to get undressed away from men?
Away from... If you're talking about trans women, then they're not men.
Why aren't they men?
Because they're a trans woman.
And what is a trans woman?
So is what you're asking, do women feel unsafe in those areas?
No, I'm asking what's a trans woman?
What is a trans woman? I'm not a doctor.
But you're here in support of trans women, but you don't know what they are.
Well, a trans woman is believe the women. Like I
Do you
don't.
believe women who don't want to get undressed in front of men? Or do you believe they're discriminated?
I think what you're asking is a loaded question, because I think you're asking me if women want to get undressed in front of men. But if you're asking me if they want to get undressed around trans women, then I don't think that that's something to be fearful of. Like, why should somebody be fearful of somebody that's just trying to use the same changing room as somebody else? And they also want to get undressed in a safe space.
Sure.
So why is that a problem? What's the issue?
Well, those women would say it's because they're biologically male.
Okay. Are they doctors?
Do you need to be a doctor to know whether someone's male or female?
I'm not a doctor. I can't answer that question.
Oh.
I'm here to support people.
Are you a vet? Are you a vet?
A vet? No, I'm not a vet.
Do you know what a dog is?
Yes, I know what a dog is.
So you don't have to be a vet to know what a dog is, but you do have to be a doctor to know whether someone's male or female.
I just think this is a really patronising line of questions.
Are you a biologist?
Oh my god, don't be ridiculous. No, I'm not a vet, but I know what a dog is.
Here it comes the debate.
Yes, of course.
So there's been a recent piece of research done by a trans organisation where they took 365 local authorities for freedom of information requests, and over a 3-year period there were 4 complaints against allegedly trans people in single-sex spaces. So my point is, if not all of these people are trans, or even if it was 4, what are you protecting?
Many trans activists will say that hardly any women have an issue with trans women, biological men, in women's single-sex spaces. But why would a woman challenge a man if he had come into a female changing room? Miranda Newsom has been punished for doing just that. That is the very reason why this protest is happening. Could the reason for the low reports of women complaining be because men like this are in favour of punishing women who do? Oh yes, and here is a real example of what happens when a group of women did confront men in their single-sex space.
You're men!
Bye-bye!
You are men! You're men!
Running towards all of us. From my face. And they have massive Adam's apples.
And you're all recorded, right?
Yeah, because you're a man in the women's loo. Like, why are you in the women's loo?
I will smack the shit out of you, I promise. Those were the words of a man who was challenged by a group of young women. Even when he was outnumbered by women, he was still prepared to make physical threats. Why on earth would a woman want to confront a man in her changing room knowing that he might threaten her?
Would you understand why a woman might not want to be in the same getting unchanged in front of a man?
Yes, because of right-wing propaganda, Christian churches and massive funding.
Nothing to do with just wanting some dignity or knowing that when you are undressed and vulnerable, you are somewhere.
No. The problem is right-wing media, Christian nationalism. Clearly the problem is the church. They're stable in their head. These people we just saw, you can clearly see the intelligence. They don't even know who they are and what they are. But we can trust them. I know we can, right, guys?
You are somewhere safe, away from men who happen to commit 98% of sexual offences.
Trans women are women are at no risk to cis women in single-sex spaces, going back to the point that I made earlier.
So if trans women are women, why are they trans?
Why are they trans? Because it's a label that we use to identify ourselves to have get medical care and access care. Some trans women just identify as women.
Yeah. Do you agree that to be a trans woman you have to be biologically male?
No.
So could I, as a biological female, be a trans woman?
No, because you are a cis female.
Okay, so what makes me cis?
What makes you cis? Your lived experience of growing up.
And what would that be?
What?
What is my lived experience of growing up that makes me cis?
What's your no, cis is not a slur, so we'll start there. What is your lived
I didn't say it was a slur.
No, but the tone that you're giving is a slur. So your lived experience is different to that of a trans woman by the way that you've been raised in society.
Could it be to do with the fact that I'm female and that trans women are male?
No.
So trans women aren't male?
Yes.
So do you believe in the reality of biological sex?
I believe that you are simplifying the reality of biological sex, and I don't believe that biological sex matters.
If biological sex doesn't matter, why are some men so desperate to get into spaces designated for biological women? Why can't they go into the male space if biological sex doesn't matter?
So what about women who've been raped to have shared
What about trans
changing
women
rooms?
that have been...
So do you think that the rights of men who say they're women should
But they're
trump the rights
not
of
men,
women?
they are women.
So if trans women are women, what makes them trans?
What makes them trans? Their lived experience and having to alter their bodies through hormones and surgery.
But the vast majority of trans women haven't had surgery or hormones.
Why do you think they haven't had surgery?
Well, many of them have no desire to.
Many of them have a desire to and don't have access to healthcare.
So what about the vast majority of trans women who don't have
Where are
surgery?
you
Do you
getting
think
the statistic? That's not true.
It is true that only about 10% of men who identify as women have had surgery.
Why haven't they had surgery?
It is true, only 10% of men who say they're women have had genital surgery, and only around half of men who say they're women have any desire to get their genitals removed. Regardless, a castrated man is still not a woman.
Do you know about the research that's been done by women's rights groups that have shown that a huge amount of sexual assaults and voyeurism has happened in mixed-sex changing rooms?
Did you just hear Did you hear what I just said to you about the piece of research that is done with
Yes.
360 plus councils? All of the research that you do is not evidence-based. Show me the evidence and I will be happy to listen to your arguments.
Well, here it is, and it is evidence-based. According to police data, 80 sexual assaults, 16 rapes, 65 incidents of voyeurism happened across leisure centres in England and Wales in 2023. 1 in 3 councils offered no single-sex changing areas for swimming pool users. Here are just a few recent examples of these types of crimes.
Do you understand why a woman might be nervous to challenge a man in a women's changing room, especially if she's on her own in there?
Why would she want to challenge them if they're not posing any threats?
Because she may not want... Do you understand why women might not want to get changed in front of a man?
They are not getting changed if you have single-sex cubicles. The majority of these spaces are...
They're not single-sex.
The majority of single-sex spaces are not... you can go into a cubicle and get changed now.
How considerate! Ladies, if you don't want to get changed in front of a man who's in the women's changing room, it's your responsibility to choose to go into a cubicle to get away from this man, not his to stay out of the women's changing room. Let's just hope this man won't film you under the changing room door, just like these men did to 6,000 women and girls. Oh, and if most single-sex spaces have cubicles, why can't these men go into the men's changing rooms?
Do you understand that voyeurism also means sometimes putting a phone...
They're not voyeuristic.
How do you know that?
Well, are they any more voyeuristic than a cis woman that's a lesbian?
Let's just remember why this man is protesting. He believes that biological men who say that they're women should be allowed into women's changing rooms. The argument that he is making here is that because a tiny proportion of sexual crimes are committed by women, we should therefore allow all men who say they're women into women's changing rooms. I wonder whether this man leaves his front door wide open because he knows the house might get robbed anyway. Doubt it.
So what about Isla Bryson? Do you think that Isla Bryson should have been allowed into women's spaces?
I think that some people should not be allowed in women's spaces. Those people that have done crimes and harm to children and women.
So do you wait until someone commits those crimes before you let into women's spaces?
I think that some people should have orders against them to prevent them from doing those things that have criminal records.
So do you think that teachers should only be stopped from teaching after they commit a crime against a child, or do you think that all teachers should have DBS checks? But that's how safeguarding works, isn't it? That you check all people to make sure that no bad people get through.
You don't check all cis women going in. I say, have you had a DBS check to use the toilet safely? And some of those women...
98% of sexual offences are committed by men.
But trans women are not men.
First of all, the logical conclusion of this argument is that we have to wait for a man to commit a crime against a woman before we stop him from going into women's safe spaces. Yeah. We don't wait for teachers to abuse children before we, ideally, do as much safeguarding as possible before we allow them to work with children. Secondly, the evidence is very clear that trans women, biological men, have the same offending pattern as all other men. In the UK, 62% of men who identify as women who are in prison have been convicted of at least one sexual offence. That is compared to only 16.8% of all men. Amongst men who are in prison, those who say they are women are vastly overrepresented for sexual offences.
Do you know that 62% of trans women in prison have been convicted of at least one sexual offence?
What have I just said to you? That I think if someone has committed a crime, then they should face the law.
Yeah, you're supposed to prevent this, you know? You're not supposed to act on it after the damage is done. What the fuck? These people are just retarded.
Safeguarding issues put around them. If someone has not committed a crime, you cannot prevent that. That would be the same as saying that we know the majority of cis men are the people that commit crimes against women and children. Do we stop them walking on the street? Do we DBS all of them? No, we don't.
So because we don't stop every man who walks down the street in case he assaults a woman, we should therefore allow any man who says he's a woman into female changing rooms.
So, because the vast majority of cis men haven't committed crimes, do you think that they should be allowed into women's spaces too?
I don't think that cis men should be allowed into women's spaces because they are not women and trans women are women.
Okay, so what's the difference between a cis man and a trans woman?
What's the difference between a cis man? A cis man defines as a cis man and is happy with the biological sex that he is born in.
So you agree that the biological sex of a cis man is the same as the biological sex of...
No, I do not agree with that.
The cis man is happy with his biological sex, but the trans woman isn't.
A trans woman is unhappy with her biological sex.
And what is her biological sex?
Yo, guys, can we reopen asylums? Like, come on, guys. Can we have these people in the streets? They clearly need treatment. They clearly need help. Like, how much are we supposed to pretend it's all good? It's all normal.
Sex.
What is her biological sex?
That she's unhappy with.
Her biological sex does not matter. It is irrelevant because...
But you just said the whole point of being a trans woman is that she's unhappy with her biological sex.
She's unhappy with the body that she was born
into. And what is the body that she was born into?
She was born into a male body.
Aha! So you agree that trans women are male-bodied people?
Yes, but I do not believe that they are biologically male.
So you think that they are in biologically male bodies, but they're not biologically male?
I think that they are male-bodied trapped in the wrong body, born into the wrong body.
But you think that those male-bodied people should be allowed to go into female spaces?
I think that once you've started transitioning, then you are a trans woman and should be allowed into those spaces, going back to the evidence that I have said.
So even before, do you think that trans women, no matter, what if a trans woman just said, I'm a woman, do you think that's enough to be a woman? Do you believe in self-identification?
Yes, I do believe in self-identification.
But you just said that once someone starts transitioning...
Well, transitioning could be social transition as well as hormonal.
So you do agree that fully intact males should be able to get undressed in the same room as females?
I said that I think that they should be able to go into single-sex spaces, and most of these single-sex spaces now have a space to get changed in, which is a separate space, like a cubicle.
It wouldn't be a single-sex space if both male and female people could go into it.
They are not male.
And there you have it, trans ideology in a nutshell, the simultaneous acknowledgement and denial of biological sex. Make it make sense.
Yeah, that was insane, man. And shout out to GB News, they're always based. It's crazy how these people never disappoint on being extremely delusional. And obviously we don't hate them. We just want them to get some help because they clearly need it. But guys, let me know in the comments what you think, if you agree or disagree. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Christ is King, and God bless you.